started. I'm here again with a blank Fusion 360 design, and I'm going to start a sketch on the top face. Now what we're going to begin with is making out the shape of the dog tag, and for this version I'm going to make it shaped like a bone, but if you want you can always do a circle as well. How I'm going to do that is I'm going to go to Create and select the center rectangle. I'll drop it in the center and I'll drag it out and create it. Now I'm going to set its dimensions. Generally I think for a dog tag we should be doing around 18 by 30. And the next thing I'm going to do is make this part of the bone. So we're going to go to Create and go down to Arc, and we're going to select 3-point arc. Now I'm going to start this at the top left corner. I'll click down and then I'll end it a little bit out on the center line. So you'll see the center line will be highlighted blue when you reach it, and you can drop down anywhere like that and then pull out the arc. And you can use Escape to get rid of the tool. You'll see now this isn't really snapped anywhere, but we want it to be on this line. So what we're going to do is we're going to add 2 reference lines, one for the horizontal and one for the vertical. So I'm just going to go ahead and click the line tool and drag it out from the center. Then I'm going to make this a center line by 2-finger clicking and going down to center line. I'm going to do the same thing with the vertical. Okay, so with this shape, I'm going to snap it to the corner, and of course you could just draw another arc and do the same thing on this side, but since we learned the mirror tool, I'm going to be using that. Let's give this a dimension. I'll say 7 for now. We can adjust it later. And then I'm going to take the mirror tool, click the arc, and then select the center line and click OK. Okay, so now that we have that set, we notice that this is also adjustable, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a dimension between this point and this line just to keep it in place. So let's try 10. 10 looks pretty good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mirror these 2 arcs across to the other side. So I'll select them, click the mirror tool, and then I'll select this center line and I'll click OK. So now we have the general shape, but you'll notice when we hover over it we can select section by section, and we want this to be just one shape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make these lines construction. Okay, now that they're construction we can select the whole thing, and you'll notice maybe we have one more line left here, so we'll have to zoom in and see if we can select it. It looks like we had to change this line as well, but now that they're all construction we have one shape and we can finish sketch. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the extrude tool and I'll extrude this face up by, let's say, 2 millimeters. And click OK. Now, to write the name of our dog on the dog tag, we're going to go ahead and create a sketch on this top face. And we're going to be using a new tool to write text. But before we do that, we're going to have to add some center lines that we can reference. So I am going to create a center line this way that we can use, and I'll also create one vertically. We can both make these center lines. Okay, now we're going to go to the top left and we're going to select the text tool. Now I'm just going to drag it out to the side, since I'll be placing it on the dog tag later, but you can create a rectangle and you'll see this menu pops up. It'll allow you to have text on a path, but we don't have a path, so we're going to do it straight. This is where the rectangle is, and it'll let you type in your text, so you can type in whatever you want, your name of your dog. And then you'll see we can also choose the font we want to use. So you can click through the fonts and see that there's a couple different options. I'm gonna go with, let's see, this one looks pretty good to me, and I'm also going to, you can try using the italics or the bold. For some fonts it's not available, but for others it is. And you can also specify the height and the spacing. So you'll notice with the spacing, when we increase the number, it gets wider apart, and then the height also just gets greater. Mainly we'll be using the height to control the size. I think 5 is a good height for us for this one, but we can always just measure it against our dog tag. I'm also gonna show you, so in some cases you might want to flip the design depending on how you're manufacturing this part, but for 3D printing it's fine to have it like this. You can also flip it vertically. And finally you can align it based in reference to the box. So if we do the left, it'll go to the left of the box. If we go to the right, it'll go to the right of the box, but we want ours to be in the center. And we can do it to the top and bottom as well, but the center is good for us. So we're gonna click OK. And now you'll see we have this box, which we're kind of able to move around. But the good thing is the box already comes with a center line. So I'm gonna go ahead and drag, and you'll notice sometimes you get the angle might be off. I'm gonna drag it. Sometimes the angle goes off like this, so what we can do is use the horizontal and vertical tool to keep these lines in place. So click the constraint and you can make both of these straight. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drag this middle green line and I'm gonna put it anywhere on this center, and I'm also gonna take the line, the green point here, and I'm gonna also put it on this center line. Now you'll see that the lettering is perfectly centered on our tag. So now we can finish sketch. With this, we can now extrude the name. So you can click on any of the letters, click the extrude tool, and we can raise it up to, I think I'll do 2, and you'll click OK. Now, here we've finished the base of our dog tag. Depending on how you want to connect it, the next part might look a little bit different for you, but what I'll show you is how to just do a basic kind of loop for your chain to go through. For that loop, I think we can do it in the very first sketch, since it's going to be the same thickness as this main piece. So I'm going to reopen the sketch either by double tapping or by 2-finger clicking and editing sketch. If you have a different type of tag, you can also make that as well. But I'm going to put a circle on the center line, on the vertical center line. You'll see I might have clicked out a tool, so I can just redraw that here. And I'm going to set it to, it depends on how large you need yours to be, but I think for me, about 7 is good. And I'm going to select the distance between that point and this line. So I'm going to make that, let's try, we can keep it 6 for now, but we can always edit it later. And of course, next what I'm going to do is create another larger circle, and I'll choose the distance, dimension the distance between the two. 2 is a little bit small, let's try 2.5, that looks pretty good. And then I'm just going to make sure I can connect these two. So when you create this line connecting a circle, you can make it a tangent line, but it's sometimes hard to eyeball, so you can always just draw the dot anywhere on the circle, put it down, and then you can drag the point until it snaps, or you can also do this. So we'll go up to the constraints, click the tangent constraint, click the line and click the circle, and now it's tangent. We'll do that for the other one as well. This just means it'll be placed, they'll be placed on opposite sides, and it'll be at 90 degrees from here to here. So this is perfect 90 degrees. Now that we have our tag part, you can always trim these or make them, you can always trim these edges, so I think I'll go ahead and do that. And let's see, sometimes the constraints could get deleted though. In our case, it looks like it was alright because none of the lines turned blue and they're all black, so that's perfect. And we'll click Finish Sketch. Now, to actually make that chain, we're going to have to edit this feature. So I'm going to use 2 fingers, to click it and then do add feature, and then I'll also just select these and click OK. Now you'll see we'll have our perfect tag, and yeah, depending on how you want to connect it to the collar or the chain, you're going to have to change this size. But besides that, I think we're all set. Here we have our finished dog tag. You'll see here that I've changed the material. As a recap, you can use 2 fingers and go to Appearance, and that allows you to change the color. But in terms of manufacturing, if you were to make this on a 3D printer, for our tip today, I'll be explaining to you how to make it in different colors. So printers print flat layers, so like your typical 3D printers. We'll start with the bottom of this dog tag, and then it will print layers upwards. That means if you wanted just the lettering to be a different color, since we raised it up, we extruded it as a different piece, we could do that. And you would basically print up to this top layer of the dog tag, and you would pause the print, and then you could switch out the plastic or the filament and then use a different color and continue the print. That way just the letters would be a different color from the base.